It's Shahara, welcome back to my channel, to the Witchy Reader. So I'm going to do something a little different. I want to talk more about my published books. I'm getting back into making writing vlogs. I have one that I finished filming and editing. I just haven't uploaded it yet, so probably come out before this video. Um, but I want to start talking about my published books again like I used to and try to get that out because I'm trying to sell and my books. Especially with it being Indie April. So yeah, and I thought it'd be fun to read an excerpt from my most recent published book. It was published on Halloween. The Realm Monsters. This is my mom's bookmark. She finished this book already. She read it recently, but she left the bookmark in there, and I'm using it to hold the chapter to hold place where I want the chapter I want to read from today. Maybe I'll read 2 chapters. We'll see. It depends. Or I could just do a whole other video for the other chapter. I don't know. But yeah, I thought it'd be cool to read a couple excerpts from this book. I plan to read a couple excerpts from The Vampire's Creation before it's published, probably. I hope it can get published by June, no later than July. So yeah, we'll see. Um, but yeah, Vampire's Creation is a sequel to The Realm of Monsters. This is going to be a trilogy, but there will be 10 novellas because Calista, who's the main character, is 1,000 years old. So there's just so much you can do with her character. Plus, there's going to be a prequel trilogy that's also going to star her because, like I said, she's 1,000 years old. There's so many adventures she's been on, so many things she's done. So yeah, that'll be fun. I've actually started one of the novellas. I have the novella ideas and the order of which they take place, and which is the order I'm going to publish them. So yeah, um, when I make the prequel is another story. It could be in several years because there's other books I want to make too. Right, too. I want to do my Scooby-Doo retelling and get that published by the end of the year, and I want or beginning next year maybe. We'll see. Actually, no, I want it to be this year. I need it to be this year, personal reasons. But and uh and I after I'm done with Realm Monsters trilogy, and while I work on the novellas, because I probably won't be done with the novellas when I finish the trilogy. Depends on which one I work on more. But I want to get the main trilogy done. But I have another series I want to work on once this trilogy and the Scooby-Doo retelling are done, which is my series. I started book one, and book one is called Skeleton Bride. The series is called Tales of the Grim Reaper. There's gonna be 6 books in that series, and I have a lot of ideas for it, and I'm excited for it, because I love skeletons, and they are one of my favorite things. I mean, I have a few skeletons. I want more though, because I love skeletons. And so yeah, but I got a little bit off topic. So this is the Realm of Monsters, basically. So I'm gonna read the back so you know what it's about. It says the Realm of Monsters is a place where monsters can go and be free to be themselves without fear of humans hunting them. But their centuries-long peaceful civilization is threatened when an enemy of Callista's finds her after 1,000 years. With monsters suspiciously at each other's throats, Callista knows her worst fear is happening. Her past is returned for her. Callista and a group of misfit monsters must travel to Athens, Greece, and reunite with some old friends as this war they were a part of so long ago continues. They must stop him from destroying humanity so that monsters can take over the human world. So yeah, Callista's the main character. There's so many characters though. There's also Roxanne, who's Callista's love interest. Isabella and Henry, who are siblings and are basically Callista's family, more or less. Not by blood, but then there's Eric and Jeremy. And then you also, those are the characters you meet pretty early, but then you also meet Athena, Frederick, Pisistros at some point, in the middle of the story. And then in near the end, you meet Josiah, who becomes a big part in book two. And then in book two, you meet Rain, who becomes a big part as well. Um, is that all? Oh, at the end of book one, you also meet Alice, and he gets a big part at some point in book two. So yeah, there's a lot of characters. My favorites are Callista and Henry. Callista, because she's the main character. She's just so complex and intriguing. Like I said, she's been around for 1,000 years. She has so much story. She's so complicated. I love her. And then Henry, he's just such a sweetheart. I love him. Okay. So yeah, the chapter I'm going to be reading is chapter 12, A Spell of Familiarity. Isabella followed Calista through the streets. They finally approached a very tall and dark castle that could give the scariest monsters nightmares. Isabella glanced at Calista. Make that the second scariest monster. This place used to give her the heebie-jeebies, but Isabella, Jeremy, and Henry have spent so much time here for the past couple centuries that it doesn't anymore. Isabella followed Calista into her castle. Calista was eerily quiet. I can't speak today. Calista was always quiet, but she could make you feel her silence when she wanted to. She was obviously deep in thought. Isabella knew this was personal for Calista. She just didn't know how. She doesn't think she knows how either. But one thing Isabella does know is that if it's personal to Calista, it's personal to her too. Where are we going? Isabella asked as they headed into her bedroom. Calista, I'm going to see if I can find any clues to what's going on, Calista replied. You're following me. Sighing, Isabella shook her head. The fact that you know I'm here proves I'm not following you. I never said you were secretly following me, Calista pointed out, as if you could even if you tried. Isabella rolled her eyes. Sometimes you're too much. Calista smirked. I know. Calista walked over to the window. Her fingers traced the edge of the windowsill. It was slightly opened. She never opens this window, or any window, really. Isabella took a look around. Walking around the coffin, she stopped in front of the closet as she gazed inside. Smiling, Isabella shook her head. A lot of black. A breeze flew past her blonde hair flowing behind her shoulders, and goosebumps forming on her skin. What was that? Isabella asked. I don't know, Calista replied, looking at her, but it can't be good. Isabella shivered, walking a few feet away from where she stood. Find anything? Calista took off her jacket and draped it over Isabella's shoulders. This person is good. He doesn't leave anything behind. Isabella sighed. So, nothing? Calista shut the curtains. I didn't say that. What did you find? Isabella asked. I didn't find anything, Calista replied. It's more of a feeling, familiarity. You said that earlier, Isabella commented. I don't know what that means. I don't even know what that means, Calista exclaimed. Isabella looked down. Sighing, Calista tucked the lock of hair behind her ear. I'm sorry, Isa. You're stressed, Isabella commented. I get it. No, you really don't. You're right. I don't. Calista sounded the lid of her coffin. You've been through so much, Calista, Isabella told her, sitting next to her. I don't even know a portion of it. We are not getting all mushy, Isabella, Calista told her, hopping off the coffin. I don't do mushy. Isabella chuckled as she hopped off too. I know. It's one of your more endearing qualities. Shaking her head, Calista tried to hide the laugh that was about to escape her lips. Isabella walked over to the window, examining every crevice. There must be a way to get Calista to remember why this place rings with familiarity. She's been around forever, thousands of years. Calista's older than any vampire Isabella has ever met. There must be a way to go through her memories and separate the ones they need. Gasping, Isabella's eyes widened. There is. The good thing about being a witch is spells and potions. There's two ways to do this, a spell or a potion, but the spell would be much easier and simpler. Isabella turned around to face the ancient vampire. I have an idea, Isabella informed her. Calista nodded. I'm listening. It's a bad idea. When has that ever stopped me? Or for you, for that matter. Isabella nodded, knowing she's right. There's a spell. Go on. There's a potion too, but it's riskier and takes longer. Plus, I don't have the ingredients with me. Calista rolled her eyes. Stop being around the bush, Isabella. Talk. The spell will help you remember why this is so familiar to you, Isabella told her. It'll go deep within your mind, your memories. Calista placed her hands on her hips. Let's get started. Are you sure, Calista? Isabella asked. I know how you get about your past, and I've never done this spell before. This is important to Isabella. My feelings about my past is only a small sacrifice for the grand scheme of things. Calista replied, and I trust you, Isa, with my undead life and my past. Isabella shifted in her response. What if I can't do it? What if something goes wrong? Calista grabbed her hands. Like I said, I trust you. And besides, you're a prodigy. There's no spell that you cannot perform flawlessly. Isabella nodded, but still felt unsure. She's usually confident in her power, her abilities, but she's never attempted something so dangerous, especially on someone she cares about so much. She led Calista by the window, her back against it. She opened the curtains, the moonlight shining upon them. Isabella moved her hands around as magic sizzled from her fingertips. Pearl magic formed in the air as it moved in the rhythm of her hands. Her eyes shined purple too, showing just how much power she was using. Calista grew worried about her using too much power at once can be dangerous for any witch or warlock. When Isabella said it could be dangerous, Calista hadn't realized she meant for both of them. She's okay with risking her own skin, but she's not okay with risking Isabella's. Calista wanted to stop her from completing the spell, but she knows that breaking the connection can be 10 times more dangerous. Isabella's aura shined bright, a purple light binding Calista. Calista shielded her eyes. Then Then Isabella spoke in a very deep and almost demonic voice. This vampire of ancient centuries breathed in the familiarity of this memory. Pearl magic swirled around Calista, causing her to levitate. She felt sensations she's never felt before. She felt cold, and she never gets cold. She felt utter darkness. If her heart could beat, she knows it would be pounding relentlessly right now. She felt emptiness, misery. She could hear screams, but not a stranger's screams. Her screams. For the first time in all her years as a vampire, she felt the need to cry as tears tried to push to the surface. No, no, it's not possible. Calista's feet landed on the ground as the purple light dimmed until it disappeared. There was no magic, any trace of the witch's magic. Isabella blinked a couple of times as she swayed on her spots, and her eyes turned back to normal. She collapsed, feeling drained. She looked up, utterly out of breath, and focused on Calista, who looked concerned. Did it work? Isabella asked, unable to make her voice go higher than a whisper. Calista didn't answer. She was about to bend down to check on the drained witch when she felt searing pain. She fell to her knees as she let out an ear-piercing scream. Isabella felt frightened. She's never seen Calista like this. Did I do this? Did I do something wrong? Calista stopped screaming. Tears were ready to spill. Blood dripped from her clenched fist, landing on the floor beneath her. She unclenched her fist and looked to the palms of her hands to see that her long nails had dug deep into her skin. Isabella finally managed to get to her feet. She attempted to help Calista on hers. Calista hardly noticed her and sat unmoving. The witch was scared. She's never seen the vampire like this. Isabella finally managed to force Calista to her feet as their eyes locked. What just happened? Isabella asked. What was all that? My past, Calista replied. My past has finally returned for me. So that was chapter 12 of The Realm of Monsters. And I thought it would be fun to do one more expert. I'm back. I paused it so I could find the chapter I was looking for because I knew what chapter I wanted to read. So this is chapter 39, a big jump from chapter 12, and it's called Connection Part 2 because it's a two-part chapter, and it's the second part I wanted to read. So here we go. Roxanne's eyes fluttered open. She took a look around, wondering where she is. When it all came flooding back to her. Sighing, she got to her feet and dusted herself off. I can't believe I actually got a good night's sleep on a hard floor. She noticed everyone else was still asleep, all except Athena, who stood guard at the entrance of their hideout. She hadn't moved slightly, despite hearing Roxanne moving around her. She's a professional, I'll give her that. Roxanne's gaze turned to Calista, who slept soundlessly. Her chest remained still. If it wasn't for her eyeballs moving under her closed eyelids or her fingers moving slightly, one would think she was dead, though technically she is. She doesn't have a heartbeat or a breath or blood actively pumping through her veins, yet she has so much life in her, even though she tries to hide it, and most people fall for her act. Roxanne hadn't figured out why she doesn't fall for it. Roxanne smiled to herself as she looked away. She didn't want to appear creepy by staring at her as she sleeps, but then her smile turned into a frown as Calista began moving aloft. Roxanne stepped closer to the vampire. Calista growled in her sleep and was shaking. Vampires don't get cold, but it's not from the cold. It's fear. But Roxanne bent down, never taking her eyes off of her. That's when she figured out what's wrong with her. She's having a nightmare. That slightly surprised her. Calista doesn't seem like one to have nightmares, but nobody can remain unafraid forever, not even someone like Calista. Without thinking, Roxanne reached her arm out towards her, placing her hand on her arm. Her deathly pale Latina skin was freezing cold, but she didn't care. She rubbed her thumb over her skin, caressing her gently. Then the strangest thing happened. Calista dug on, actually relaxed under her touch. She stopped moving and growling from her nightmare. She had just stopped completely. But then her eyes flew open so suddenly that Roxanne fell backwards. Calista sat up, looking around, unsure what just happened. Roxanne sat up too, facing the intimidating vampire. What's going on? Calista asked. What are you doing? Nothing, really, Roxanne replied. I was just trying to comfort you. Comfort? Why would I need comforting? You look like you were having a nightmare. It looks pretty bad. Calista scoffed. I don't get nightmares. I am the nightmare. Roxanne shook her head. No, Calista, you're not. Calista raised an eyebrow. Why do you say that? Roxanne shrugged. You're definitely not in my nightmares. Please clamped to Joshua. Besides, nobody's perfect, Roxanne added. Nightmares aren't a sign of weakness, and neither is fear. Then what is a sign of weakness? Cleese asked, if you're so educated on this. Weakness is not trying, Roxanne replied, giving up. Then perhaps you're not as weak as I had presumed. Roxanne smiled. It wasn't exactly a compliment, but she'll take it. It was probably the closest thing to a compliment she'll get from her. The werewolf just noticed how close her and Calista sat to each other. Her erased as she stared deep into Calista's dark eyes, seeing the red specks inside them. What are you smiling about, Wolf? Roxanne looked away. It's nothing. Calista smiled slightly as she looked down. Roxanne unknowingly studied every feature on her. Calista appeared deep in thought, and Roxanne couldn't help but wonder what was going on in her head. Roxanne reached over and grabbed her hand, causing the vampire to look up quickly, startled by the sudden contact. You can talk to me, Roxanne told her, about anything. Cleesa searched Roxanne's face for an answer to explain her kindness. Cleesa hadn't exactly been friendly to her, yet Roxanne had shown unwavering kindness towards her, despite everything. She didn't understand that. It's never happened to her before. But Roxanne seemed to truly just care. How odd. Roxanne let her thumb glide over Cleese's skin again. She couldn't believe the intense vampire hadn't pulled away yet, but she was just happy that she hadn't. Roxanne smiled sweetly as Cleese just stared at her, almost looking confused. The touch of Cleese's skin brought butterflies to her stomach. Her heart rate slowed as Cleese's gaze actually softened while looking at her. Roxanne noticed something in Cleese's hair. What was it? Fuzz? The werewolf used her other hand to reach out and grab it. Cleese froze, unsure of what she was doing, and had to force herself not to pull away. As Athena's voice rang in her head, "You're afraid to open yourself up to anyone." She forced herself to remain still as she watched Roxanne with curiosity. Roxanne gently pulled the fuzz out of Cleese's hair, feeling the silkiness of her dark hair through her fingers. Her heart pounded roughly her against her chest as she finally got it out and flicked it away. Cleesa couldn't speak, afraid her voice would betray her calm and cool personality. Even if she did speak, she wouldn't know what to say. She only ever get speeches around the werewolf, which was odd. Roxanne's smile widened. She couldn't help herself but to reach out for her hair again, feeling the silkiness again as she tucked it behind her ear. Cleesa used her free hand and grabbed Roxanne's, guiding it away from her hair, surprisingly being gentle about it. They stayed there for a moment, staring deep into into the other's soul. It felt like. Finally, after what felt like forever, Cleese pushed Roxanne away roughly, her face hardening. Roxanne was shocked by the change in reaction and scooted backwards. Cleese got to her feet, dusted herself off, and with one last glare aimed at the werewolf, turned her back on her. Roxanne watched as she strolled toward Athena, not even looking back once. And that was chapter 39. So yeah, this was fun reading those two little experts. You can get The Realm Monsters on Amazon by Johara Harper. That is me, if you did not know. um, and the sequel, like I said, I hope to get out in a few months. So keep your eyes out for that. It's called The Vampire's Creation. Maybe I'll have the cover appear here for it. But yeah, I would love to do this again. Let me know if you want me to read the chapter 13, because that kind of left off at a cliffhanger on chapter 12, or chapter what was it, 38, to get an insight about what happened before the connection between Khaleesi and Roxanne. And I would love to read an excerpt from The Vampire's Creation as well, if you guys are interested in that and getting a sneak peek to that book before it's even published. So yeah, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and comment what you thought of my experts, and if you would like me to do this again, and I'll talk to you guys next time.